So sometimes you come up with an idea and then forget it, right? But you have other ideas. So go with the ones that come out. Right now, I am moving on up right now. Let's get these into some shapes and sizes here. Up. It's about the right size. Spread this one out a bit. Moving on up. I go to my character palette, and I am going to shrink the amount of space between my characters, called the leading. You highlight individual sections of it and then give it a leading set. Sorry, you highlight two at a time so I can know which two you're separating. That's good for now. I'm gonna go through the font change stuff in a second. Hopped over to pixabay.com to pick up my free image. This is the image I'm gonna use. I'm gonna view that image, gonna copy that image, jump over to Photoshop again, and I am going to paste that image by hitting Control V, and there it shows up. I'm going to right click and turn it to a smart object, and then I am going to, once it turns into a smart object, jump into it so I can isolate just the escalator. I double click on my smart object and it'll open up as a separate document that I can work on, and it will save into my original. I'm going to try to quickly pen tool this, going around. Let's undo that. Make sure you're on the outlines of your pen tool, not dropping any color, so you can continue to see what you're doing. You would be able to retain the path even if you were dropping color, but it's difficult to see what you were doing. So you're continuing, click and drag, 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 and drag, and click and drag. I like that little bow at the top. I may decide to get rid of it. I'm pen tooling this because it's a pretty simple shape that I'm trying to retain, and also it's going to give me a really sharp line, whereas if I was to try to rasterize, cut it out, this makes somewhat of a vector cut. If I was to continue to try to raster cut it by using my channels, it would come out pretty blurry on the ends and wouldn't really match the contour of the stairwell very well. And I just recognized that this is the stairwell, not even the escalator that I was intending to get, but stairs do the job. So now I go to my paths palette, I double click to make sure I'm retaining that real quick, and then I highlight it. I was satisfied with my lines already. I didn't need to go in and clean it up any by pen, but I will clean it up a little bit by my defined region. Now, making sure I have all of it, I am going to slightly smooth it and hit OK. Now I've isolated it by creating a mask. I'm going to Control S that, save it, and close my PSD. Now I'm going to move that back behind the words. Hit Control T to make it larger. Blow it up. Move it up. Hit Enter. Now, the words, we're going to change the color of them. We can go to Character Palette again, double click on it. The color palette will open, and then I will change that color probably to a very white, maybe a little bit steel color white. And so when that palette came open, I can actually use my eyedropper to pick a good color and hit OK. Then make sure I'm on my text layer, hit Control T, and I'm going to make that bigger. I want it to overshoot that. Now I'm hitting Enter. Colors are a little bit tricky right now. I am going to add some clouds here. I'm still in Pixabay, and I'm going to get some clouds. Got some clouds going on. I really need something with a defined edge. That one is a good edge, not a good cloud. Let's start here. I'll go ahead and view this image and copy it. And jump back into Photoshop. Add a new layer and paste it. Convert it to a smart object by right-clicking and hitting Convert to Smart Object, then double-click on it and hit OK and go inside of it. Now this one is going to be a raster cut, so I'll go to Channels. I'll take the red channel, which has the most contrast, drop that, hit Control L, and drag up the darks, trying to get it as dark as possible while retaining all of my whites if possible. I'm gonna have to keep working at it. While retaining all of my whites if possible. And I think that's good. The grays are going to be more transparent, and that's fine because I'm dealing with clouds. So I'll hit my selection tool, go back to the layer, and mask that. Then I hit Control S, close that out. And now I'm going to take my clouds and move them behind my escalator, hit Control T, and make them big. Then I'm going to hit Control 0 to bring it all on the screen. And try to tighten it up quite a bit because I want the defined edges of the clouds to stay in the piece. So I went back to Pixabay and grabbed another image and pulled it in, and I've placed it in front of the staircase. Now I'm gonna go and clean up the back clouds by adding a mask, just a general mask. Then I'm gonna take my brush on black, soften the brush, and kind of just brush out all of the stuff that's past the edge and has lines in it. I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm going to bring it right to the edge so it keeps a lot of shape, but I'm going to get rid of a lot of it as well. Up here also making sure that there's no hard lines in the image. I'm gonna bump that way in since there's something to cover it. Now, what I've got to deal with is my text is too close. I like the color, so I'm just gonna stroke it, make that a big stroke, and I'm gonna change the color to a harder gray, that stroke, by using my eyedropper to pick something in the gamut of my image already. Now, what I'm going to continue to do is to tweak this slightly, and we're going to turn it into a t-shirt image. Right now, it's a good image. We're going to turn it into a t-shirt image really quickly. What we're going to do is black and white the image. Hit OK. Then going to hit select color range and aim for the whitest spot you can find. Try that again. Aim for the whitest spot. There I go. Now I've pulled it all the way up there. I hit OK. Above, create a new layer, and I'm gonna hit Control, Delete, and fill with white. And right now I'm just gonna turn all of my originals off. Hit Control D to deselect it. Hit Shift and the layers, new layer tool, should have been Control. That would have created a new layer all the way at the bottom here. Hit D to get my default colors. Hit Alt Delete to fill it in, and boom, we have a t-shirt image. Now we can clean that up some more. I'm kind of happy with that on black right now as a one color. So we could do the inversion of it, so it could be done on light color shirts. I want to test this image real quick, so I'm gonna color overlay that to a lighter color like white, and then I'm gonna color overlay this one, so you can see the inverted version is not as good looking nearly, so we would have to do an inverted version of the entire piece. So let's try that. So I decided to change the font for this one and make it much softer. Gonna go back, open up all my original, then I'm gonna turn it on black and white. Above that I'm gonna add a levels, and I'm gonna bring the blacks up more, really darken stuff up quite a bit. I'll hit OK, then I'll go to select color range, and I will hit just the black and see what it's got for me. I think that was a little too dark. Let's go a little bit lighter in here. Okay, that's gonna do, so I can back off a little. We'll hit OK. It's picking all those colors right now, all those shades of gray, as close to black as I got it. Now I will create a new layer, and I will Alt Delete to fill it with black. I'll turn off all my original, turn on my background color in that effect. Control deselect and take a look. It's close. So for this, we isolate the clouds separately. We create a new levels layer and drag it up till I got some black there. I hit OK, and then I again select color range black, or as black as I can get, then hit OK, and then I can again make a new layer right here, just about, let's see, Alt Delete. So I masked it using the other color file. I'm turning off all my original to see what I've got.